How's it going, people? Welcome to this week's edition of the Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. Got a Liverpool man, Brian, in the house, and an Arsenal man, Mose, in the house in unusual colors. Both of them in unusual colors. But we'll explain more about that when we come back from the intro, and we'll be right back after this. Brilliant. Welcome back, people. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. Mathew is the name. Got Brian in the house. You can say hi, Brian. Liverpool man, Brian
Hello.
Muhame. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Brilliant. And we have the Arsenal man, Mr. Mose. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Good to be here again.
Fantastic. And we'll get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, your first time, welcome. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and we'll be sure to enjoy a lot more of our content. And gentlemen, reviewing the action from the weekend, and we will kick off at the top. It is Navi times at the top, Brian, and I will start with Liverpool going. The games are coming in thick and fast, and the results also have to come in thick and fast. But what was your take on that 1-0 victory for Liverpool versus Newcastle? A bit navi, if you ask me.
It was. I was expecting us to add to the goal that we scored in the first half. But kind of, as we headed towards the 88th minute, I began saying, okay, you know what? And sometimes I can be a bit cowardly. I actually change the channel or something. So, but on the whole, it was a very professional performance. We kept the guys at arm's length for most of the game. There were one or two, should I say, half chances, which these guys created. But on the whole, I was impressed. I think when they talk about the Liverpool squad depth, I think it was clearly displayed by that game. The way we went about it was quite professional. Yeah.
Brilliant. Naby Keita scoring in the 19th minute there to settle the nerves of the Kop away at a very hostile ground right now. Newcastle, the Magpies at St. James's Park, which is quickly becoming a fortress. Moses. I mean, the likes of Ericsson, Maximan, and team have actually been quite stable under Eddie Howe, and many questioned his appointment at the beginning. But Newcastle putting together a formidable run that has taken them out of the bottom of the Premier League, the bottom three, and they're now firmly seated in 10th place mid-table. And so great fortunes there from Eddie Howe. Next summer and next season, the money starts to flow in proper. Moses, are these guys?
No, I think what many forget is that when Arsene Wenger was leaving Arsenal, one of the coaches that was looked into to replace him was actually Eddie Howe, and not because he's British or anything, but because when you look at the style of play that he was having at Bournemouth, this is a guy who has a good style of play. He understands how to manage players, and then at the end of it all, he knows how to command his locker room. So in the end, you want such a coach, and he has gone to Newcastle. He knows that the pressure is high, the money bags are in, but he knew that what was required of him is to bring results on the pitch, and he's been able to do that. He's trained the team since January. They are now ninth on the table, and Liverpool were actually lucky to walk away with all the 3 points. They could have walked away with 1 point or even without points, because at the end of it all, Newcastle really did play their game. So I think with Eddie Howe, they just have to give him more resources. But what is very important is not to do what Manchester United did, not to buy players the coach, but rather buy the players the coach wants. And Newcastle will be a team to beat to continue challenging for those top four positions, not ideally into the mix of the championship yet, but they will be a team that will get into that European conversation, really.
Brilliant. I believe the question is who will fall out if they are getting in. But we will wait to see. Of course, that victory taking Liverpool on 82 points after 34 games played. And of course, Manchester City playing much later, responding in style. 4
Yeah.
0 there. Victory away to Leeds. Goals coming in from Rodri, Nathan Ake, Gabriel Jesus, and Fernandinho settling the tie as well. And Manchester City, or rather, should I say Liverpool, bringing out the best in Manchester City, Brian.
Yeah, it's just been like that for the past couple of years. These teams tend to drive each other to new levels. So I think it's just sort of like a repeat of what happened a couple of years ago. Only I think there's a lot more at stake here because Man City, I don't know how many more chances it will have to win the Champions League. And for Liverpool, it's sort of feeling like deja vu because I think around this time, a couple of years ago, I think two seasons ago or so, we were 1 point behind Man City for the remaining 4 games, and they went on to win. So I'm not really holding my breath, but let's see what happens. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, Moses, Manchester City, this team here, we all thought that they were, at risk of falling away or crumbling. They certainly did in the FA Cup, but Guardiola seems to have gotten a kick up the backside. So it's now tit for tat at the top, even with the contract signing, Klopp signing a contract extension, just this week. And then rumors filtering in that Pep Guardiola has also accepted a contract extension when he was primed to leave after next season. The rivalry is certainly shaping up, and if they continue at this, they will look like they will surpass the Arsene Wenger Sir Alex Ferguson rivalry. Because at the moment, these are the 2 best teams in Europe. Let's face it, 2 best teams in Europe.
Well, one thing is for sure, Man City had this trophy to run away with, and by December we all thought, listen, these guys are going to run away with the trophy. And this was a time when Liverpool was engaged in the FIFA World Club Cup, and we all thought, listen, Man City, by the time Liverpool come back, will be probably 15 points away, and they were 12 points away from Liverpool at the point. But they started dropping points, and especially at games that they should not have dropped those points. For such a highly stacked team, you would have expected that they should have been able to, to keep that big points difference, but they just kept dropping. And remember, Liverpool had games in hand, so Liverpool was able to bridge this gap. So we thought, listen, with the 3 games Liverpool have in hand, probably the best they can do is close this gap into about 7 points, and Man City can be able to continue from there before they face off against each other. They faced off against each other, and they are still separated by just 1 point. What you'd call a perfect result for each one of them. But I think that Pep Guardiola finds himself in a very, very difficult situation this weekend, especially this week, because he goes into tomorrow's game not quite sure that they have gone past Real Madrid, because you go up against Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu in a Champions League semi-final. You're not playing against 11 players. You're not playing against 13 players. You're actually playing against almost 16 players, because the fans are divided almost into 3 sections. They have the ultras, the super ultras, and the others who just come to support. So if they lose that game tomorrow, then they again lose over the weekend in the Premier League. He could find himself out of 2 trophies in a space of just 4 days. So you get what I mean? So the pressure is on Pep Guardiola to deliver tomorrow, to deliver over the weekend. And remember that over the weekend, his game has been drawn back earlier to 2 p.m.
Yes.
So and early kickoffs are not any easy peasy for the big boys. They are always a very difficult fixture for the big boys. So you want to imagine that Pep Guardiola is under immense pressure this week, by all accounts, because very difficult game tomorrow at the Santiago Bernabeu. Real Madrid just clinched their trophy on Saturday, so they have nothing to lose. They are going to throw everything at Man City tomorrow, and then over the weekend you have an early kickoff. Quite a terrible fixture, really. So yeah.
Brian, do you think that early kickoff is going to affect Manchester City coming off the midweek Champions League game? I mean, depending on how that, they always respond with venom. If they lose, they come with even more venom.
Yeah, It's one of those unpredictable things, but I think those early games are a bit unpredictable because I even noticed, generally speaking, they tend to be a bit slower than the ones that are there later in the evenings. So yeah, I think that's a bit of a tricky one, but I wouldn't take it for granted because even Liverpool is playing Spurs that very evening, and Spurs is not a very easy team to deal with. So there's a lot touch and go for many of these for both teams. The Real fixture, I mean, game is one of those ones which is a bit tricky because Real is proved to be a very unpredictable team, especially in the Champions League. They know how to play that tournament, so that's what they may be riding on. But let's see what happens. I think I don't see them. I don't see Man City overrunning Real like it did when they were playing at the Etihad. But it's going to be quite a. I think it's going to be just punch by punch. With the team that perseveres is going to nick it. I think I don't know what City's game is over the weekend, but it seems to be more not as a difficult one. So they may be able to navigate because once they have gotten past Real, they'll be a little more relaxed. So let's see how it comes. I think Wednesday's match will determine how City's season plays out really on all fronts. They may even if they don't, yeah.
Interestingly, they welcome Newcastle to the Manchester City Stadium, the Etihad.
That may be a goal fest if Newcastle is not careful. Let's see what happens. Newcastle has a habit of giving goals to. I think there's one shocker they gave Man City that time when Man City won season by 1 point. Newcastle came from behind to beat Man City. I recall it was one of those rare ones, one evening game. But I don't see. I think because Newcastle is pretty much all but safe, they don't see them being as. I mean, probably they will be. It works either way. They may be relaxed and give stress City, or they may be too relaxed and City blows them out of the water. So let's see. I'm not too sure how it will play out, but it's one of those unpredictable things. Yeah.
All right.
Like the premiership is anyway.
Yes. Brilliant. Let me move on, gentlemen, to the game, the top 4 race. The championship race is there. It's a tit for tat affair, and we're waiting to see who drops points. But at the top 4 race, it's also shaping into a tit for tat race. Fantastic results at the weekend there. Spurs and Arsenal playing out their matches on Sunday. Spurs having arguably the tougher of the two matches against Leicester City, albeit at home, but coming out on top 3-1, back to their counter-attacking best. Their goals coming in from who else? Harry Kane with the opener, assist from who else? So, and then the following 2 goals from arguably the signing of the January transfer window, Dejan Kulusevski, providing, of course, before Kelechi Iheanacho scored a consolation for Leicester City to give Spurs a comfortable win there in the end. That one taking them to 61 points on 34 games played. Later on, Arsenal were away to West Ham, and we all thought that was going to be a little bit tricky, although we knew West Ham would rest quite a bit of their players because of Europa League commitments this week. Arsenal coming out on top, 2-1 win, and then Navi uncharacteristic, gritty win there for them, and goals coming in from Holding Hope in the account, Jared Bowen there in 45 minutes, leveling it for West Ham before Gabi Magalhaes, the defender, nicked the winner at the 54th minute. Mose, what's your take on this race? Who is going to win it? Spurs have Liverpool next. Arsenal have Leeds next. Should Spurs be beaten by Liverpool and Arsenal win their game, they're going to the North London derby, 5 points clear of Spurs. The pressure will be on Spurs. Arsenal fail to win and Spurs somehow get a result, the pressure swings to Arsenal's way in the North London derby next week. So a fascinating contest right there. Who do you think is going to take it?
Well, this is a difficult one to predict, really, because just like you said, Liverpool. I mean, Spurs have a very tough fixture this weekend. They play against Liverpool, and Liverpool are not leaving anything to chance because of the 1 point difference with Man City, and so they want and they seem to be back to scoring for fun. So they are going to really push everything towards Spurs. And remember that they come into this game well aware of where they will be in the Champions League. So the owners will now be on trying to ensure that they get the Premier League trophy into their coffers as well. So I think that Spurs have a difficult game ahead of them. If Liverpool by any miracle tonight loses to Atletico, to Villarreal, they'll just go and punish Spurs. But if Liverpool beat Villarreal, then again, they will know that they have no more pressure for Champions League. They're going to just put everything against Spurs. But also, Spurs have really improved under Antonio Conte. He's found a system that works for his players. He's found a way of ensuring that they keep running the way he loves his players to run. And so this is going to be an interesting fixture, but I still believe Liverpool come out on top. As for Arsenal, they've always been what you'd call victims of self-sabotage. When you expect them to pick up results, they always fumble, and you could see it after the international break. But I think ever since then, they have found their way around it. They have found a way of not just playing the way the manager wants, but they have found a way of grinding down results. And you could see it from the game against West Ham. They now seem to know that, listen, we're either playing the Champions League or we are not. So I think that that's going to be very pivotal for them, considering the fact that after this weekend, the two face off against each other in the North London Derby, of which the winner will determine who gets to play in the Champions League, really after this weekend's results. So I don't want to say who gets to qualify for the Champions League next season yet, but I think that this weekend will determine so much on who gets to play in the Champions League come next season.
Brian, Liverpool holds the fate of the Champions League in their hands.
And we can return them a favor.
Yeah, we're all supporting Liverpool.
Circumstantially. So we took points from you guys. We still need the points. So we're not going to discriminate. Ultimately, we'll still need the 3 points from Spurs. But like I said, Spurs game is really hinged on the counter attack. And against our high line, I'm a bit. I'm not too quick to assume it's going to be an easy run for us. It's going to be something which we need to manage those spaces. Otherwise, we're going to have the likes of Son and with Harry's assists just running past that defense. So that's something that the Liverpool has to be very cognizant of. But yeah, I think it's touch and go. I think it's somewhat almost as tight as the Man City Liverpool tussle. The place the battle for fourth. It's that definitive. But I think if the results go Arsenal's way, I think it will be a bit difficult because it's generally Spurs is not comfortable with teams that sit back, and I've seen Arsenal sometimes sit back, especially when they feel that the odds are against them. So if they have a 5-point gap against Spurs, they can actually just wait to get them on the counter, like they did against Chelsea. So it's something which Spurs fans, we don't have that many in Uganda, but hoping that fingers and toes crossed as things played out here. If they lose the 5 points, if there's a 5-point gap, there's a chance it could actually lose to Arsenal even next week. It's because the counters with that young guy in Ketia, there's a chance that they could lose out to Arsenal again. So it's something that they have to be careful about. Yeah.
Well, we will wait to see. We will wait to see what happens. And moving on to the forgotten team of the Premier League, Manchester United. There, not much to say about this one. Really, consolation football from the Red Devils. They are winning by 3 goals over right there. Brian smiling profusely. I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Man United season so far? And what will Eric bring to this team?
Well, I think it's ironic because obviously, having supported Liverpool for over 30 years, I've been at the receiving end of a lot of banter with all the misfortunes we've had. So when Man U fans get a taste of what it's like to have long-suffering experience, I empathize with them. But yeah, I think it's a pretty restructuring job, a very expensive restructuring job at Man U. They have had 4 or 5 managers, change of managers, and that needs a lot of remediation to be done. So I don't know whether they're going to I mean, they can remove all the other players that look like excess baggage, but the likes of specifically Ronaldo, who has been scoring goals for fun, I don't know is how Ten Hag is going to manage that question, but sometimes it's a bit difficult to maintain the balance of the team against how certain individuals and Ronaldo, with all the goals that he gives, there's always a concern. Okay, those ones who are not, they call them Ronaldo haters, tend to say
I'm
that
breaking Brian's heart. Liverpool have conceded.
Hey,
Hey,
already.
Champions League. Gentlemen, we need to wrap this up for the sake of Brian's blood pressure, because the man. But anyway, quickly, Brian, wrap up your review on Man United there. I'm sure one eye is on the Liverpool game.
I mean, I don't want to gleefully talk about when my team is losing in Champions League, but there's a lot of work they need to do. This is restructured. There's no definitive silver bullet solution. This will take time, and I'm just asking Arsenal and my Man U friends to be a bit patient with this new manager. Otherwise, it's going to be frustration all around. Yeah.
Brilliant, Moses. Your take on Man United very quickly.
Quickly, I think the most important thing United have started doing is working on the top management issues, because bringing just Eric Ten Hag was not going to solve everything, and so resolving everything from the very top is really going to be the difference, because you want an entire team starting from the top to the bottom, a team that is working towards the common goal, and I think that's the most important thing to is Eric Ten Hag's role, but also they need to buy players that he wants. Not the players that they feel will be able to perform for him, for the club. They should not go for mega signings. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, moving on. Finally, Chelsea, another forgotten team. There, 1-0, losing away 1-0 to Everton at the end. Frank Lampard with the victory over his beloved Chelsea. How important was this for Everton? Brian, you being a Liverpool person, just a few blocks away from the Everton there. Of course, it's stuck in a relegation battle. Do you think Frank Lampard will have enough to get them over the line with Burnley waking up all of a sudden?
Maybe just because Burnley has been on such a good run, there's a chance that 1 or 2 points may drop. And because I saw the way we played, the way Everton pitched up against us, the game against them, there are really there's a new sense of purpose and I think a lot of determination all around. So I think they're going to carry that momentum with them in the coming games. They still have trickier fixtures than Burnley does, but Burnley's winning run, I think they may not do 5, 6, 7 winning stretch. It may be the 1 or 2 teams may end up causing them problems along the way. So I'm still leaning towards Everton, maybe because I'm a little sympathetic towards their plight. But let's see what happens. Yeah.
What would the premiership be without the Manchester Derby? Can you imagine?
It will be strange.
Moses, it will be very strange. Moses, your final take on Chelsea. Actually, that loss for Chelsea, just putting them just 3 points ahead of Arsenal. So another loss for Chelsea, and all of a sudden, the top 4 hunt becomes the top 3 top 4 hunt.
No, I just that's what I was about to say, that Chelsea losing over the weekend was what did put a hole into their Champions League issues as well, because what this does is that it brings Arsenal and Spurs closer to them, and suddenly the 3 London clubs have to decide on who is going to have to to lose out on all this, and things are not being eased by the fact that Chelsea find themselves in a lot of financial issues, considering the fact that Roman Abramovich is still not allowed to make an investment to the team. They are capped on how much they can spend per weekend, and all this has also an impact on the psychology of players. So I think that Chelsea have to win out all the remaining games if they are actually to avoid dropping down to 4th or 5th position. But other than that, I think that the mere fact that they are in 3rd position, the lowest they are going to drop is probably 4th position, but I don't see them dropping further than that. On the other hand, I think Everton, need to pick up more wins if they are going to, continue surviving. Because Frank Lampard, in as much as he's trying to change a couple of things, he still doesn't look like he has a control of this locker room, because you can see that the players are yet to play for him. They are now starting to play for the badge, or for the fans who are starting to boo them, but not ideally playing for the coach. And you can also see that there's a lack of tactics in this team when they are playing. They are not ideally, tactical. They played against Liverpool because, listen, this is a derby. No fan is going to listen to you if you've not thrown everything at your greatest rival. So they need to work out some of those things.
Well, I mean, I would disagree with that based on the results coming out at the Chelsea game, because they look like they're starting to pick up a bit of momentum and starting to play
Yeah.
for the manager. We do wish Everton,
Yes.
well, I for one would like to see them stay in the Premiership. It would be
Yeah.
terrible to see them go down. And at that, would like to leave it at that for now. As you can see, Brian is visibly uncomfortable at the sight of Villarreal taking the lead in the Champions League, and he's we need to save his blood pressure for today and
Yeah.
let him
Yeah.
get back.
Let me go and stress myself.
Some chamomile tea will sort you out, Brian. And hopefully, your attackers will do something for you. But ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, thank you for joining the show. It's been a pleasure right here in the locker room. Welcome, Brian, for the first time. Welcome, Moses. We did miss
Fine.
Governor, but he will be back in probably the next few episodes. I'm sure he will show face. If you're just joining, feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Tune in again next week for another brilliant episode of The Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. Have a fantastic week ahead.